New at noon, almost 30 years of DNA analysis from an analyst at CBI is now under question. An internal investigation found Yvonne Missy Woods manipulated data and posted incomplete test results in criminal cases.
A forensic scientist who worked on multiple high-profile cases, like Kobe Bryant's sexual assault investigation, could be forcing thousands of retrials.
A few moments later.
A former state forensic scientist is now facing dozens of criminal charges after she was accused of manipulating data in more than 1,000 cases. Yvonne Missy Woods is in Jefferson County Jail tonight facing 102 felonies.
So in Colorado, thousands of criminal convictions for major felonies could be overturned because of the work of this one DNA tech. Let's talk about it. This is Yvonne Missy Woods. She was the former forensic scientist at the Colorado Bureau of Investigations, commonly known as CBI. And she worked there for 29 years, from January 1994 to November 2023. Remember when NBA star Kobe Bryant was arrested for sexual assault in Colorado? Well, Yvonne Missy Woods is the DNA tech who handled that particular case. She was the one who identified Kobe Bryant's DNA at the scene. Now, Kobe Bryant's accuser refused to cooperate with authorities, and the charges were eventually dropped.
The sports world. Less than a week before Kobe Bryant was to stand trial for sexual assault, the charges against him have been dismissed. In a stunning development, prosecutors decided to drop the case, not because they wanted to, but because they had no choice.
Prosecution team wants to try this case. I want to try this case. And I have evidence heard by 12 citizens of this community. However, the victim has informed us, after much of her own labored deliberation, that she does not want to proceed with this trial. And for this reason, and this reason only, I am dismissing this case.
Now, neither Bryant or his accuser were in the courtroom today, and the judge threw out the case under a deal that means no charges will be refiled. Had he been convicted, Bryant could have faced 4 years to life in prison or 20 years to life on probation and a fine up to $750,000.
Now, Yvonne Missy Woods is a 29-year veteran of the state's crime lab. She's considered one of the best and most trusted DNA analysts in the country. Her work has essentially never been questioned. Now, the state of Colorado started random audits of the crime lab's work. After a routine audit, the crime lab found some anomalies in some of the DNA evidence.
Sure, we were first notified, we being the elected district attorneys here in Colorado, that the Colorado Bureau of Investigation had identified these anomalies in this forensic scientist's work. We were first notified on November 6th of 2023. And of course, our first thought was, she has worked on thousands upon thousands of cases in Colorado. What's the scope of this? What's the impact going to be on our pending cases and past cases that we've obtained convictions in?
I mean, have you ever seen something like this before? How shocking and wide-reaching is this?
This is beyond anything that I think any of us have ever seen.
In a letter to district attorneys on Monday, the current director of CBI told them the agency might have information about Woods that could affect her credibility in court. According to the letter, there were anomalies in her work. The director wrote CBI is not only compiling a list of cases Woods may have worked on, but also finalizing plans to prioritize and retest cases.
Now, after the news came out that this DNA tech was possibly manipulating data, jeopardizing cases, defense attorneys started filing lawsuits to get their clients out of prison.
Yvonne Missy Woods. She was the lead scientist in charge of analyzing DNA for the trial.
Well, I think that was the reason he was convicted. Because they're saying there was DNA evidence putting him at the crime scene.
Missy Woods, in Hunter's case, is now under investigation. Days before filing the lawsuit, Burden learned CBI found anomalies in her work.
It gave us more impetus and it validated our suspicions.
A court dismissed Hunter's case initially, the lawsuit says, after Woods incorrectly identified the victim's hairs as Hunter's. 10 months after the crime, new evidence of hair surfaced.
What led to a conviction was a hair follicle that was given to CBI somehow.
The lawsuit is demanding for all biological evidence to be handed over so it can be retested.
And my other question is, how many other people are in prison based on irregular evidence.
So now, after an initial review by the state, it says that evidence in about 3,000 cases may need to be retested at a cost of $7 million to taxpayers.
The CBI now estimating about 3,000 cases are going to need retesting. All this after learning about anomalies surrounding one investigator who'd worked with the Bureau for 29 years. The retesting could end up costing the state millions of dollars. It's Missy Woods that is under criminal investigation after someone found these so-called anomalies in her work. She is no longer an employee of the Bureau. CBI thinks about 3,000 cases are going to need to be retested by a third-party lab.
So let's fast forward a couple of months. Now the state has completed its preliminary review and has identified 652 cases so far, which may be in jeopardy because of this DNA text manipulation of the data. Now, I know we've been saying there's been anomalies. We found anomalies. But now the state is going to define what anomalies were found in the data.
4 months ago, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation announced that they had discovered anomalies in her work. What that meant, we just learned more about today. So today there was a release by the internal investigation into this matter where they announced that she had deleted data, manipulated data, and tampered with evidence in an effort to cut corners. What I would highlight for your viewers, though, is that they remain steadfast that she neither manipulated nor produced any false results.
So the state then spent the money and retested something like 3,000 cases. And here's what they found.
CBI says it's finished reviewing the caseload of a former DNA analyst who's accused of manipulating data over the course of her nearly 30-year career. An update posted to CBI's website shows the review of every single case that Missy Woods was involved in that's been completed. The agency has now identified just over 1,000 impacted cases. An internal affairs investigation started in October of last year and found Woods purposefully deleted data.
So now they've reviewed the cases, they've seen the problems, and they decided to charge this former CBI analyst with over 100 crimes.
102 charges related to 58 cases of alleged criminal misconduct dating back to 2008. According to the arrest affidavit, dozens of agencies around the state are involved. Some of the cases involved are serious and high-profile cases like numerous homicides, sexual assaults, robberies, burglaries, and even sexual assaults and trafficking involving children, all of which our legal analyst points out rely heavily on DNA data in court. CBI estimated the cost of Woods' alleged misconduct is a whopping $11 million. Woods is currently being held on a $50,000 bond. Her first court appearance will be tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Missy Woods was a prosecutorial rock star. She strode into court with an air of confidence about it. She was qualified as an expert witness more than 500 times in criminal cases. And on the other hand, we know some things about this investigation that's going on, including her admission in November of 2023 that she deleted some DNA data in her testing process because she wanted to shortcut additional steps that would have been required. So on that hand, it's not a surprise.
And there's already been some evidence of cases being botched and some criminals being essentially given a free pass because the state can't trust what this DNA crime analyst did.
Woods faces 102 felony charges, accused of committing a cybercrime, perjury, attempting to influence a public servant, and forgery. One of the cases she allegedly botched was the murder of Tamara Dean Harney's father.
When this trial started, we were confident the evidence would deliver a sentence of life in prison until CBI was called into question.
Tamara's dad, Roger Dean, was murdered 40 years ago. Just last week, the man accused of killing him got a much lighter sentence than usual because of Woods' alleged involvement in handling the case's DNA.
So Missy Woods is probably going to be doing some real prison time. Much deserved prison time, too. What do you guys think about this case? Now, I am going to say something that may be controversial, but I believe Missy Woods should get as much time as the people she essentially set up. So if she said that, hey, this guy's DNA was found at this particular place and it wasn't, and he was supposed to get maybe a 20-year sentence, she should get that sentence. Now, tell me if you agree with me. Tell me, Nate, you're being too rough. You're being too harsh, because I think this woman should spend the rest of her life in prison. You have a whole bunch of people out there whose lives are affected, both victims and the criminals. So it's, this is a systemic issue that this woman should be held accountable for. But again, as always, tell me what I'm in the comment section. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all the great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm out.